What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. UFC 280 is here. I know a lot of people in the comments have been saying, Akeem, man, you got to get back to some MMA. Well, MMA is here, and we have a massive card this weekend. But this video, we're going to be talking about Charles Olivera versus Islam Makhachev, right? This might be one of the best UFC cards of the year, right? It has the potential to be. It's a massive one. It's stacked. And the main event is an interesting one because you're talking about two guys with a lot of momentum who are both on a nice run. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Charles Olivera. He's on an 11-fight win streak. He's someone who has been through it all, right? He won a whole bunch of fights and became champion. He's lost as well. His toughness has been questioned, and he's answered those questions. When he fought Dustin Poirier at UFC 269, I went against him. I thought Poirier was going to win. When he fought Justin Gaethje at UFC 274, I went against him. I thought Justin Gaethje was going to win. And every single time that I've went against him and we have picked against him, he's won that fight with a statement. A submission against Justin Gaethje in the first round, submission against Dustin Poirier in the third round, knocked out Michael Chandler before that. This is the best version of Charles Olivera that we have seen. He's at his absolute best right now, and that's what you want to see. He's got 21 wins by submission, so we know how dangerous he can be on the ground or if you're in close. But in the recent fights, we've been seeing him become a better striker. He's improved in that area. If this is an upright fight, I'm giving the advantage to Charles Olivera. I haven't seen much from Islam Makhachev's stand-up game for me to be able to tell me otherwise. Now, where Islam is dang near perfect is on the ground. Islam is an absolute monster on the ground. He's a technician, and that's where things become a little bit more interesting. How will Do Bronx stop the takedown? If he does get the takedown, can he find his way up out of the takedown? That's a question that I'm not sure about just yet. But I also must say this, right? On this channel, I've said this a whole bunch of times, right? I'm a person that believes that you get better when you go through adversity, right? And if you have never gone through adversity, then what happens when you get taken there? How do you respond when you are in a position where you're not familiar or accustomed to? Charles has been in the fire. And he's found a way to come out of the fire and be dominant in the fire and come out on top against guys in the top of that division. So the experience against the top 6 guys, top 5 guys, for me, favors Charles Olivera. So we have to keep that in mind. As far as experience-wise, we have to lean towards Charles Olivera. But let's talk about Islam Makhachev, right? Islam might be the closest thing to Khabib Nurmagomedov that we've seen. Very familiar styles. Islam is very disciplined. He's very patient, very methodical with his approach. Islam is a decent striker. I wouldn't say that's his strong suit. If it's a stand-up fight, I'm giving that to Charles Olivera. I'm leaning towards him. But obviously his strength is on the ground game. That's when Islam becomes Islam Makhachev, is on the ground. He knows how to maneuver and get into the positions that he needs. He's not a big guy. But how he leverages his body and his size and finds his way in the right position is just ridiculous how smooth and effortlessly that it does look. How we submitted Dan Hooker in the first round, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. Dan Hooker seemed like he was going to get out of it for a little bit there. And then Islam made a couple moves, a couple shifts, a couple of adjustments. And next thing you know, Dan Hooker is tapping. The other thing with Islam as well, too, is he does not get touched very much. We haven't seen that often in his fight so far. So for me, I know Islam is good. I know he's talented. I know he has a lot of strengths, but I don't know how Islam is when he's faced with that adversity. He's never really been in the fire from an experience standpoint, right? I don't know how he will respond if Charles can bring him into those deep waters. And I believe that Charles Olivera will. So this is a 50-50 fight to me, and I don't think there's a clear winner. On paper, you might say Charles because of his resume, but you cannot deny how impressive Islam Makhachev and his reign has been. If this fight manages to stay upright, it works in Charles Oliveira's favor. He's the better striker. If this goes to the mats, well, that's where it becomes a little bit more interesting because Charles is also very good on the mat, but I would still edge the better grappler to Islam. So two questions. Can Charles Oliveira stop the takedown? Can Charles bring Islam into the deep waters for 5 rounds? Those are questions that I have. And those are the questions that will be answered this Saturday. But if I had to pick, I'm leaning towards experience here, and I'm going with Charles Oliveira by decision. I think Charles has just had more experience. He's had more times where his back was against the wall and he finds a way to win. So I'm leaning towards Charles Oliveira in this one. But I also would not be surprised if Islam wins as well. So from a betting advice, a betting perspective, man, place a little bet on both of them because this truly is a 50-50 fight. But for me, I'm leaning towards Charles Oliveira by decision. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comments section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. If you'd like to follow me on social media, my social media handles will be on screen as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this time, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.